In class today, September 22nd, 2011, what we did is periods 1, 2, 6, and 7 were a little bit different than periods 3 and 4. Period 3 and 4 did a Socratic seminar with Mr. Walsh, who came back today to finish that up with them. We will talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. But the content for all of the classes should be the same. So here's just a review of the content. Even if you're in period 3 and 4 and you're watching this, there's, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 of you that are actually watching this. We'll see if that changes over the course of time. But for now, at least this is still an option. These are the notes that we went over. We talked about this as a political cartoon regarding English as an official language of the United States. And then I asked on the back of a Cornell page to list the parts that you see in the picture, just very specifically, very intentionally write down what are the parts, what are the things, actual things that you see. What's the author's opinion? And then how does the author get that opinion across to you? Then we started doing the notes part. Since the English Only Laws reading was published by the ACLU, we talked about what the ACLU was and the political viewpoint. It's important for people to understand that uh, the point of view does obviously determine how that point of view comes across. So while this article seemed to be very kind of down the middle and just fact only, obviously the ACLU has a point of view and they promoted their point of view. So we talked a little bit about that, and then some of the notes, just to review some of the notes that we talked about from yesterday and that had been done in the readings over the last 2 days. This idea of English only has happened since the 1780s. We also talked about how the Articles of Confederation and the Indiana Constitution were both printed in German and English. So, again, just showing this has been around for a long time, this whole idea. Indiana is one of the 16 states that have English only laws, again, according to this article, and that there's a constitutional amendment proposed. So there's a consistent measure of English only and what really that means instead of just each state deciding for themselves. The other thing I told him to write down, the 1980s. In the 1980s, there's a growing number of immigrants coming to the United States, and so this idea of English only is resurfacing, and we showed some graphs of that, what the immigration rate was. And then this one, even more importantly, is the percentage of the population of immigrants. So while you can see that these numbers are very, very high in this area, even here, the percentage of the population is even greater. Then we look specifically at immigrants in Indiana. We were talking about language use at home. 92%, if this will highlight, 92.4% of all the homes in Indiana speak English only. And so when we're talking about English only laws, we're talking about a population of less than 8% that's affected. And we also looked at this group of Hispanic origin. We're talking again, since that seems to be the focus of Spanish, only 5%, a little over 5% of the population of Indiana are Hispanic or Latino origin. Some more notes, the fact that California and Arizona, places that maybe you might think would be a little bit more liberal and they'd be maybe some more, they'd embrace bilingualism a little bit more than what the data shows. Both California and Arizona have voted for propositions to limit those bilingual programs. And then we talked about how that physical geography impacts cultural geography because obviously California and Arizona being so close to Mexico, where a lot of people would come from, they would have a different feeling about immigration than, say, somebody from Indiana that lives further away. The other thing I told them to write down is 1 in 7 U.S. residents speak a language other than English at home, but that doesn't mean that they don't speak English. That just means that there might be English and something else. And so we talked again about bilingualism. Then I had them explain their thoughts. When they explained their thoughts, I just tallied up how many people participated, who participated, when they participated, and hopefully scored some easy points for that. So I know this is a lot longer than 2 minutes, and I do apologize, but I think this is an important topic and something that is certainly going to relate to each and every one of us for the duration of our lifetime. So thank you for paying attention for 4.5 minutes and going now, but for 4.5 minutes. And if you missed today, you did miss a lot.